Good morning, good evening, and good night. Thank you again for joining us on the Sly Report. And today we'll be covering rather somber news in the continuing story of Bartholomew Kuma, the pastor himself. We now must cover the sad revelation of what happened to Sister Jenny. Without further ado, I, Gold D. Rings, first mate and host, will give you the news. We start this chapter at the revolutionary base in Baltigo, and they are getting a call that they need assistance, aid in the Tumi rebellion. This has been relayed over to Eva and the other revolutionary leaders that are on the ship, I believe, over in the Goa Kingdom, who have just rescued the injured from the Goa Kingdom. And Eva's like, we have too many injured. I don't think we'll be able to do anything right now. And then Kuma says he'll go. Eva says that he shouldn't think about going right now. He's been pushing himself too hard ever since the incident. But Kuma teleports himself away, and then he appears on the battlefield, and the enemy is shocked. Kuma is flashbacking to the call he received, or the call the revolutionaries received about Guinea and about what happened to their unit. And it's intercut with him winning this rebellious war for the Tumi rebellion, and you get scenes where they cut and you get information about her being taken, and about how, man, it's just sad. Sorry, bear with me. About how she was taken by the celestial dragons and the whole unit was wiped out, and she was taken to be married off to the celestial dragon because he saw her, he liked her, he wanted her to be his bride. So at the end of all of this, between the cut of the Revolutionary Army, or Kuma rather, helping out the Tumi Rebellion, and these flashbacks, we cut to the end of that, and Kuma reaches out to Dragon and he says, Dragon, I'm sorry, I've worn myself out, I gotta come back by boat. And Dragon's like, I understand, just get back when you can. We cut 2 years from the incident, and we see a ship. Well, not a ship, a boat. A boat on the seas with a lone figure with a crying child, and that figure says to this child, we're almost there, Bonnie. We then cut to the revolutionary base and someone saying, hey, come quick, it's Guinea on the line. And everybody is surprised. Dragon, Kuma, Guinea, they're all there. They're listening. And Guinea's like, hey, I made it back to the surface. I really wanted to come see you guys, but I won't be able to. And Kuma's like, what's going on? Where are you? I can come there immediately. Like, what's going on? Eva's talking to her. She's like, where are you? They're just, Eva and Kuma are distraught. You can see the emotion on their faces. Guinea's like, I'm at the end of my rope. I don't think I'm going to make it any further. I just wanted to talk to you guys one more time. And Kuma's like, don't be silly. Like, where are you? I can be there immediately. And Guinea's like, I got sick. They no longer wanted me. They threw me back down to the earth surface. And Kuma figures out her location while she's talking, and he teleports himself there. And right after he teleports himself there is what I'm gathering from this. She says, I love you. I love you, Kuma. I always have and I always will. We then cut to Kuma making it to his destination, and turns out it was their home in the Sorbet Kingdom. And he finds Guinea's body there, and she has died. She's died with the din mushy in her hand, so she likely died right after she finished that phone conversation. Kuma's arrived and he finds her body. And we just get these cuts between him holding her lifeless body and the memories that he shared with her in their home together. We get some of the elders explaining how her whole body was turned blue and became hard like stone, and it's a result of being exposed to natural light, and that she used the last of her life, her strength, to get her child to sorbet. And Kuma, he cradles her body, and he breaks down and he cries. He just cries. Once again, he cries. He finds out about the baby. He makes the promise to raise Guinea's daughter. Who we now know as Bonnie. I'm trying to keep it professional here, but this is honestly one of the saddest tales I've ever had to report on. How much can one man suffer? One good man. How much can he suffer? We then get a montage of scenes where things are happy for a time. Kuma is raising Bonnie, and he reminds her so much of Guinea, and we get major milestones in her life, like her speaking her first words and Kuma crying and being overjoyed at this, taking care of his daughter. And in between these scenes, we get scenes of Kuma going off to do battle as part of the rebellion. So we'll get a scene of him and Bonnie living in a family life, and then we'll get another scene of him on the battlefield. We'll get a scene of him feeding Bonnie with a really big bottle because she's a big eater. And then we'll get a scene of him training Sabo. We get a scene of him on a battlefield using his Xersa shocks and stuff like that. We get another scene of him just having a good time and being there for Bonnie with the elderly people that live on this island, helping to raise her. Then we get a scene where the two kids who grew up with Guinea and Kuma come by, and all the windows and doors have been closed and boarded up to the church that they live in. And Kuma shows his friends a small jewel-like stone under Bonnie's eye that looks just like how Guinea looked when she got sick. So the friends go to try and find a doctor to try and see what's wrong. They bring two doctors. The first doctor is trying to actually take her out into the sunlight, the natural light, to see if what he's saying is true. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. The next doctor, she's more thorough of a doctor, but she doesn't recognize this disease. She says it's not white lead. I can't really recognize it. So we get a scene where Kuma goes to see his revolutionary comrades, and he's like, hey, I can't work with you guys anymore right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I need to be by Bonnie's side. Dragon says, I understand. Don't live a life that you're going to regret. I will reach out to every doctor and every contact I have to try and find a cure for her. We then cut a little bit further into the future. Bonnie's a little older, and local kids around have heard rumors about her and stuff like that, but it's been, rumors, so they think she's a vampire or whatever. They live in the church, and they go to mess with her and stuff like that, and you see a rambunctious young Bonnie coming out like, get out of my home, you guys, and all this other stuff. And then she drop kicks one kid. It's funny. But they're running and stuff, and they're afraid or whatever, and yelling names back, being, kids or whatever. And Bonnie's at the door, and she's like, "Oh, you want me to come outside? I'll show you what for." And then we see Kuma coming up behind her, like, "No, no, no, no. Please don't go outside. Please don't even go in the doorway. It scares me so much." Such a good father. We then cut a little further, and Bonnie's inside with her father, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know why these kids keep making fun of me for this thing. I can't help that I have this sickness. I can't help that I'm sick. Like, is it weird?" And Kuma's like, "What? Your jewels? You have such pretty jewelry. I love it." And it makes Bonnie happy and smile, and that's how she gets the name Jewelry Bonnie. There's wholesome moments in here, but you just know the pain that Kuma has to go through in the future, and like by extension the pain Bonnie has to go through by that being her father, and just so sad. But we gotta continue. We cut again, and we see Kuma and Bonnie just talking about where she would like to go when she's cured, and Bonnie's reading Kuma's Bible, and she's like, "I want to go up to Sky Island for my 20th birthday." And Kuma's like, "Islands in the sky?" She's like, "Yeah, Sky Islands." And he's like, "All right. And then where would you like to go for your 19th birthday?" "Oh, we'll go to Fishman Island." And then something really nice is that when they're talking about Sky Island, Bonnie's like, "Yeah, it's in the sky, so maybe that's where Sun God Nika lives." And we get the image of Kuma doing the Sun God Nika dance and the beat, and they're laughing and having a good time together. And then cut a little further into the future, and we see a doctor has come, and he's talking to Kuma, and he's like, "Yes, this disease is called sapphire scale disease. Any natural light that hits this person, their skin becomes hard and rock and scale like sapphire scales. So, and eventually they die." And the doctor tells Kuma that yes, even though she hasn't been exposed to any natural light, this disease is fatal, and that she basically would die when she reaches the age of 10. And Kuma is distraught, and he's hurt, and then they hear a noise outside, and then Kuma sees Bonnie, and Bonnie's like, "I heard everything," and she's happy and laughing and so excited. And she's like, "It'll be over when I'm 10. That's what they said, right? So I'll be cured when I'm 10. And Kuma doesn't have the heart to tell her that that's not the case. So he's like, "Yes, you'll be cured when you're 10. On the inside, he's panicking because he doesn't know what to do. Now he has to find a way to cure his child. We cut to the final scene of the chapter. It's a year later after that, and the old king that had been taken out of power by the freedom fighters at the time, when they freed Kuma, has returned, and he's basically killing all the old people, burning down the houses. He's come with a force, and he's come for blood. The old people run to Kuma, and they ask him for help. They ask him to stop this tyranny. And this is where the chapter ends. It was a short chapter this week. It was very sombering and very sad, but also very hopeful. But ultimately, we know where the story goes. All I have to say is this. Pastor Bartholomew Kuma deserves more happiness than he has been given in his life. He is one of the most selfless individuals I have ever seen put to page. A true kind soul. And this suffering that he is enduring, Lord knows. But yes, thank you for joining us today. I know we usually like to have a good time here, but we wanted to take this rather seriously. and remind you all of the world that we live in and how awful these people can be, but also how good man can be to his fellow man. Follow the example set by Pastor Kuma. Do good for your fellow. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. And we'll see you next time.